The likes of this, I don't think she would have gained an advantage. Arab Emirates here. A lot of racing in Scotland. I know does some instructing at Knock Hill Circuit. It's a great opportunity for her.
Massive on the world stage in front of some very quick drivers. Dorian Pan was one of those drivers that is very quick. Obviously, dominated every single session there. I wonder if she can keep the form going here. She was very quick in Saudi Arabia at the start of the year. She was quick in Qatar, so maybe it's the Middle East is her vibe. But in the mid-season test here, we know Abby Pulling was very quick as well. So it's going to be spicy, as it always has been, between Dorian Pan and Abby Pulling, I think, this weekend.
Father Graham, no doubt, will be watching on Logan Hannah. We wish her all the best of luck. Of course, we have an extra race this weekend for the first time this season. 3 races. That means Abby Pulling will go out to score a single point to fully confirm herself as the champion. What it does mean is she's got 3 chances to go and score a record-breaking 8th win as well. It does also bring the team's championship back into play for Campos Racing as well. They can now go out and become team's champions. They're 100 points back from Prima Racing, and it makes the battle for the team's championships between Prima Racing and Rodin Motorsport very, very exciting indeed. Just 28 points between Prima Racing looking to retain that title and Rodin Motorsport as well. But 3 opportunities for drivers now to go out there and score podiums as well. We've got really interesting fights going on for the top of the order as well. Dorian Pan on 180 points, Maya Berg on 135. She just 30 points ahead of Nerea Marti, looking to get a championship podium. And then we have Chloe Chambers on 103, Hamda Al-Kabaisi on home soil on 99 points. Several drivers, having got to the end of 2 seasons, will be leaving. Hamda Al-Khabaisi one of those 3 opportunities this weekend to try and go out there and leave with a win.
Yeah, change for the drivers, obviously usually 2 race weekends, qualifying being the first and second fastest set in the grid. This weekend's going to be 3, so small changes, but all changes that have never happened to any of these drivers. Let's go around, pulling goes fast again. Jessica Edgar on a tidy lap at the moment. And we're talking about the team's series, aren't we? And Edgar really needs to try and help Abby Pulling with Rodin's team championship. Pulling has really been pulling the majority of the weight in that, whereas Prema currently in the lead. Dorian Pan and Maya Vug have really found them form together almost, as Edgar goes second, then gets demoted by Lovin Foss back down to third. But good lap there from Jessica Edgar in the Amex car.
Jessica Edgar making her way out of the first corner. She's another one who will be departing the series, having done 2 seasons. Let's watch the slow-mo. She's doing a great job so far in this practice session. The American Express supported driver, 2nd place so far, but Hamda Al-Khabaisi now makes her way into 2nd place. Abby Pulling currently leading the way and quite comfortably on a 1:57. Problems, it seems, for the away supported wildcard Logan Hanna, unfortunately. The Prema Racing team just doing work to the back of that car. So not what Logan Hanna would have wanted at all. Let's hope for her sake that the Prema team can get that fixed, and no such movement either for Tina Houseman. I can see Jessica Hawkins there just next to her, who works closely with the Aston Martin drivers, works closely with Tina Houseman. But we haven't seen Tina Houseman out. We haven't seen Dorian Pan set a time. Maya Vug is only just leaving pit lane now. But Tina Houseman doesn't look like she's going anywhere anytime soon. No.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to JB Motorsports' coverage of F1 Academy. We've had a few tech issues, as always, up here in the commentary box, with it being 6 AM. We've resolved those now. The commentary from this session, anyway, was coming from Chris McCarthy.
Working A-OK in Qatar, gets put in the truck, transported over here to the UAE, and suddenly doesn't work as we go on board with Leah Block, my driver of the 2nd half of the season. She's really ignited form and pace. You can see how aggressive she is. I really like her steering inputs, car control good. That shouldn't be a surprise with her rallying background, but yeah, she's been really impressive for me, and hopefully she'll be back for a 2nd season, and she'll be definitely a podium contender in my opinion as she goes 6th and then down to 7th straight away. The pace is going to be frenetic in this first part of the practice session as the track continues to clean up and the drivers get their tyres fully in the operating window.
Leah Block doing a really good job this season. How difficult would that have been for her to make the step over as well? It's been a really impressive form for her. Here's Nerea Marti. We talked about the fight for her. 30 points back from Maya Vug. She's got a great opportunity this weekend to go and get a championship podium. Is that something that's going to be on her mind, do you think, the Tommy Hilfiger supported driver, to go and get a podium in this F1 Academy series?
Yeah, that'd be an amazing way to round out the championship. The top 3 obviously get their awards at the end of season party, as well as we see Dorian Pan tackling the quirky pit exit here underneath the track, and then feeds you back into this race circle on the exit of turn 3. So it's a long pit lane. No pit stops in the races, so the drivers won't be ultra focused on practicing their pit ins and outs like some championships. It's more about just not doing any damage under there. Dorian Pan, you can see the nature of the body language of the car. Tyres still cold as we go on board into turn 5. Leah Block potentially locking up. Yeah, just a slight lock up on the left, releases the brake well, and maybe on the exit curve as well. No, all good on the exit. So difficult point for the drivers there to pick their braking point, and easy to lock up as well. Must be another lap from Leah Block, because that's a lot more aggressive on the exit curve. You can see that step down as soon as the car does its legally track limits, it just bottoms the car out there. So yeah, a slight lock up there as well for Hamda Al-Khabaisi. All the drivers, like I said, just getting their eye in at the moment.
Here we watch Hamda Al-Khabaisi Great to see Hamda and Amna, the Emirates.
The engine on now. The Premier team had to go back for a power cable to get that car fixed, so just sometimes can be a simple component. As we look at Alice Powell there, has struck up a really formidable relationship, hasn't she, with Abby Pulling in the foreground here. They've worked together really well to maximise the performance from that Alpine driver, Abby Pulling. So maybe just coming to the pits, doing a quick setup change on the front. Looks like it's most probably just a roll bar adjustment, just trying to find a bit of grip. She has a set of new tyres on, so this will be a qualifying simulation. As you see, Carrie Schreiner there, aggressive lock up into the last corner, turn 16, trying to open that corner up, but just bottomed the car out under braking and effectively took all the weight off the front axle, and that's why I didn't want to turn in. Leah Block again on board into 5. What happens this time? Is it another lock up on the front left? It is more aggressive than the other one. Gets the car in well. You can just see that flat spot just starting to get worse on the front left, and you can see why the slow-mo making it very aggressive. Look at that big blister rotating every 360. Ba-bum, ba-bum. It's a horrible feeling as a driver, especially if that's a new tyre. You may be hurting your weekend performance with a mistake like that.
Picking up Bianca Bustamante. She's gone purple through the first sector, personal best. Second sector as well. It's been a tough run of form for Bianca Bustamante. Hasn't scored points since Barcelona. She could really do with a positive end to this series. A lock-up there now as she makes her way towards the double left-hander. It's been a tough run for Bianca Bustamante. Joe, how, as a driver, do you now pick yourself back up when you're in a moment like this and try and end the season on a positive note?
Yeah, you knuckle down and you work even harder. It can be in the gym, can be on the data, can even be with a bit of a mindset coach as she goes fastest. So that's how easy it is. I just tell her to knuckle down in the last 2 corners. She goes fastest. But it is difficult as a driver. You feel like a one-man band sometimes, and yeah, you have to lean on your support network, and that's what the best drivers do. Dorian Pan coming to cross the line. Can she take first place? No, still a 58.8, so she'll now be on a push lap. That was probably her final prep lap, getting the tyres up to temperature. As we look at a Premier teammate in Maya Vug coming into the last couple of corners, green, couple of sectors at the moment, looking like this could be a pretty strong lap when you look at her sectors. Bustamante was quickest out of everyone in sector 1, then it was Pulling in sectors 2 and 3, so we're seeing a bit of a split at the moment, aren't we? Maya Vug, no, that last sector not so fast, so we've still got 21 minutes. I think a lot of these drivers are just starting to get the tyres in the window they want to be.
Saw Dorian Pan across the line there. Here we see Maya Vug, who's been super impressive in the second half of the season in particular. Maya Vug, lots of podiums. She has scored 5 podiums in a row in particular as we go on board with Amna Al-Khabaisi for a replay into turn 1.
Yeah, we saw a yellow flag pop up, didn't we? So what happens here on the exit? Just loops it round. Just a little early on the throttle. Traction not quite there. Again, you see the flat spot on the left. She was following her sister, wasn't she? And teammate De Hausch in the Ford Red Bull behind. And yeah, easily done. You can see the AstroTurf on the exit. The drivers want to avoid that. But yeah, very slippy on the exit of turn 1, it seems.
Hamda Al-Khabaisi, fastest overall. Big weekend this is for both Hamda and Amna Al-Khabaisi. Amna Al-Khabaisi spoke before the weekend about how she is not just doing this for herself, her family, her supporters, but also for the marshals around the circuit as well, who she has got to know throughout the years whilst racing at this circuit. Hamda Al-Khabaisi raced in F4 UAE. Tina Hausman back in pit lane. No time set for her, neither for Logan Hanna. And this not what you want when we only have the 1 practice session before qualifying later, which will set the grid for all 3 races. Joe?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a problem. I think it's just the end of an install lap. They're checking the pressures. Huge slide for Leah Block there, all the way up to the exit and beyond. That was turn 1, where we saw Amna have the spin. So, yeah, losing a track limit limit there, and that's the track limit camera the officials have. So
yeah,
it's pretty clear, isn't it, when the car shoots out of shot across that white line. But yeah, hopefully for Houseman that's just their regular check. But now it's 20 minutes delayed as we go back to Hamda Al Khabazi, purple sector 2, Bustamante on a purple sector 1. You start to find drivers have their sectors they like. Bustamante seems to be an absolute rocket in 1, and Hamda here seems to be a rocket in 2 and 3. Another slight lock-up of that there. All be thinking about these tyres. 4 sets of tyres this weekend because of the extra race, but you don't want to be burning through a set if you don't have to be.
You've done European Championships over the years, Joe, an international series. How is it when you get to a home race? What is that feeling like? Is there an extra element of pressure with that be on the shoulders of Hamda and Amna this weekend?
Yeah, getting all your friends and family in for tickets is always the biggest stress. I used to hate. I used to just turn my phone off, and I have no friends anyway, so that was easy. But yeah, there's an added pressure to it. You want to represent well. You want to make everyone that's helped you realise how much support they've given you and how much that's helped you. Is another big look-up for Bustamante. Just thinking the nature of this circuit here compared to Qatar last week is a lot more slow-speed corners that you have to trail the brake in. I think some of these drivers will be thinking about maybe a setup change, but even just a brake bias adjustment, just shift some of that as another lock-up into the last corner. Just need to shift some of that brake pressure to the rear axle to try and alleviate that front corner that's having to do so much on corner entry. Turn brake is never easy for a grip. As we go back to Dorian Pan, finishing a lap up to third now, 57.0. The lap time's getting a lot more representative of what we're going to see in qualifying.
Dorian Pan, familiar with this circuit, took a pole position and victory here in the F4 UAE series on her way to a top 10 in the championship, despite the fact she missed the final round. Let's check back in with Bianca Bustamante, the
Yeah, more technical issues. We've lost the TV pictures. Yes, so we've lost technical pictures right now, which is always great. I'm in the foggiest what's happening at the moment. We're just now seeing a black screen up here in the commentary box. So, as always, the Abu Dhabi curse seems to be living on with technical failures left, right and centre. Amanda Al Khabazi is fastest at the moment. Amanda Al Khabazi just set a new personal best of 157.902. Leah Block's gone into position as well. Let's just turn that off whilst we get our audio back and TV pictures operational once again. And then we get Dorian Pan in third, 157.054, as we now have TV pictures once more. Just getting up. We've had to load up Sky Go, believe it or not, in order to get this working. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it is going to work. Let's head back now and take up some audio, and we'll go and fix the main issue with the monitors. So we'll leave you back with our commentary team. It's just morning stuff, really, isn't it? It never wants to work out the way it wants to. 6 a.m. Who's up at this time? Good morning, everybody. Well done for getting up and staying up wherever you are in the world. Well, we are waiting. It's buffering at the moment. Well, this is great. Can't leave. No signal. And timing screen's coming through. Tina Houseman, 158.908. Carrie Shiner, 157.419 on the board. Literally, it's just crashed. It's times like this I really love technology. Isn't it great? 15 minutes to go then, at the moment. Yeah, and that's all the messages coming through saying that. Why aren't you on? Well, it's because it's died, and what do you want me to do? Right, I'm going to have to leave you the timing screen while I run in and change it, but I'll leave the mic muted so when they come back, you know I've gone up and fixed it. Back in a minute.
Far, so some problems with her car at the moment. She'll want to get as many laps in as possible. 11 minutes remaining, so she's got a chance to do another 5 flying laps before qualifying, but maybe not all has been well with her car so far.
We've got Abby Pulling leading, Amanda Alcabasin and Doria Pan, Bianca Bustamante, Chloe Chambers, who is going to jump in the Red Bull Ford next season. Great year for her as well. She's been super impressive in the series, Chloe Chambers, and Amna Alcabaisi, Carrie Schreiner, Tina Hausman, Leah Block, Nerea Marti, Emily DeHaus, currently in that Red Bull Ford. Aurelia Nobels, one of the youngest drivers in the series, Lola Lovinfoss in the Charlotte Tilbury car, Jessica Edgar, Maya Vergen. Then we look at Logan Hanna coming down the start-finish straight, our wildcard driver, just trying to get up to speed now, having spent several amount of this session pit lane. Let's have a look at Amna Alcabaisi, and this has been a hotspot for track limits, and I think we might see another case of that, Joe.
Yeah, slight hook up, that wasn't the problem. But yeah, just picking the throttle up that aggressively forces the car's trajectory out wide. You can actually, the front left was definitely clear in the air there. I think a lot of these teams are going to be changing the floors in between sessions because they're bottoming out so aggressively.
Now, not only that, but qualifying later, you have to get 3 flying laps in to set the grid for 3 races. The track limits, you have to, the team, I guess the debrief might be, make sure you get three flying laps, and it's not just to go for that 1 lap in a session that we're going to have later. That will certainly be one of the things I know you've done coaching yourself. Is that something you'd be saying to your driver if you were working with the F1 Academy Series drivers.
Yeah, you usually say get your banker lap in to make
Yeah,
sure you're safe. We've got to do that three times.
Yeah.
And then you've got to do 3 non-banker laps. So
Yes,
there's 6
yes.
laps straight away. So, yeah, again, like I said at the start of this session, it's different this weekend having the 3rd race added. So it just adds everything, ramps everything up by 33% effectively in those situations.
I guess there is an element of drivers trying to find that limit, isn't there? This is where you want to do that. Practice. Let me find where the limit is. Well, I will run over the track limit, and then I know come qualifying that that's the limit. We watch Maya Berg now making her way round. Very impressive. Raced in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine last year. Took a rookie win and has settled into...
Well, it was fixed, and now the TV pictures have gone off again. Quite simply, your guess is as good as mine.
Has done very, very impressively representing Ferrari. Just coming up towards turns 12, 13 now. Maya Berg, who has been on a run of podium finishes. You feel that win is not far away from her. She'll want to try and get that in before the end of the season.
Yeah, we saw her qualify in the front row last weekend in Qatar and was distraught after race 1, after Abby Pulling got the jump on her into turn 1. And yeah, you can see the motivation that she's got. She's not happy with 3rd place. She's not going to be happy with 2nd. So top step is where she wants to be. But currently in 15th, that's the lowest we've seen Maya Berg in this sort of end of the championship. So maybe not happy with the setup of the car. But we've just been...
And she has stepped in to the series this year. Hasn't been in the points for a couple of races, but has scored points several occasions. I guess she'll be hoping to try and replicate that 6th place she got at Jeddah.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a good lap. Green sector 1 and 2, we had that lock up into the last corner. We're about to see it head on here. Look at the left side of the car as we look at it locking up there. Just forcing her to go in a bit deep there, losing time, and that's why she didn't improve on her 157.496. But I think that lockup was probably 3 or 4 tenths. So if you add that in, she could be getting herself in the side, the top 5, as we go on board with Chambers. Very short sector 1 here, crosses the line now, pulling currently quickest on a 24.5, with 4 tenths off that at the moment. The drivers don't know their lap time. There's no delta on the dash, so they're having to go on feel, and that is very difficult. You know what feels good, but you don't know what a tenth or 2 feels here. And when there's 16 corners, a tenth or 2 here suddenly adds up to a couple of seconds quite quickly.
Chloe Chambers making her way down the back straight, coming off the back of her worst round at Qatar. She'll be hoping to bounce back. The hatchback driver, that'll change to being a Red Bull Ford backed driver. She'll certainly be looking forward to a visit to Las Vegas next season. Won the SCUSA Super Nationals there back in her karting, well, took a podium there, shall I say, back in her karting career, beating the likes of Freddie Slater and Kimi Antonelli. So she's raced in Vegas before, and she will go back there now to race in F1 Academy next season with the backing of Red Bull Ford. But for now, it's all focus on Abu Dhabi this weekend. The hatchback driver heading in towards the final sector of the circuit. P6 so far, coming off the back of a difficult weekend. Let's see what she can do now coming up to those final 2 corners. top 5 here would be good. She'll have to get past Jessica Edgar, though, who's having a really good practice session so far. Jessica Edgar, Chloe Chambers out the final corner, down the start finish straight now. Can she improve? Yes, she knocks Jessica Edgar out of the top 5, and that's a very solid lap for Chloe Chambers. Very close, isn't it, between the likes of Bustamante, Chambers and Edgar?
Yeah, a couple of tenths makes 5 places difference there. Leah Block purple in sector 2 as we're on board with Maya Vug, not purple in sector 2 as we cut on board going through turns 10, 11. Car didn't look super happy, looking nervous on the rear as well, having to turn in slightly early for corners and then getting oversteer. So I'm not sure Maya Vug will be completely happy with the setup of this car, and I think that's why she's in 13th. Leah Block about to finish her lap into the last corner. We said purple sector 2 just needs to be a tidy final sector. This could really promote her up the order. Where does it put her? All the way to first. That's quite a good promotion.
And she's gone quickest by almost half a second. Leah Block to the top of the times in practice, but it's gone straight away. So that's a track limit violation, and it came at turn 6. So that is down at the heavy braking zone. Now, this is going to be it, Joe?
Yeah, I'm always sceptical as a driver when you're that clear, and are we just going to go straight on?
Yeah, let's have a look.
And I think that's why we saw a purple sector.
Right.
And that's how you find half a second on Abby Pudding, is missed turn 7. So, yeah, I was happy for her, but unfortunately as a racing driver, you're always sceptical, and that seemed too good to be true, and was slightly there, but worth making sure the officials are watching, I would say.
Exactly
Leah Block. Good one to tick off.
Exactly that. But some good sectors either side, I'm sure. Chloe Chambers, though, saying that could be challenging to get even further up the order. She's putting really good sectors together, as is Hamda Al-Khabaisi. Let's see them over the line. Here comes Chambers up to the line now, and she does go fastest. 156.175. Watch in the background, Red Bull supported Hamda Al-Khabaisi. Is she about to beat that? No, but she gets closer to it. Only 2 tenths back, and now the state of the top 4 is a lot closer. It's just 3.5 tenths between them as we jump on board with Mercedes-backed Dottie and Pan.
Yeah, Pan looking comfortable, always relaxed behind the wheel. You see all of these different styles, don't you, from our drivers. Dorian Pan currently in 4th, 3.5 tenths off that time. Chambers just set into turn 6. This is where we saw Block go straight on. Car dancing around nicely on the rear. That will help with the rotation, help the turn in. There's that compromise short shift there. Really nice to get rid of some of the wheel spin she had earlier as well. Actually getting a black and white track limits for Hamda Al-Khabaisi there. The race director saying that's enough, we need to start reining it in. Into this double apex, get a really good chance to see what a double apex is. So we have a nibble of the curb here, we let the car run to a midpoint, and then we bring it back in for a second apex. So 2 corners for the price of 1. What's better than a double apex? A triple. That's what you've got here at 10, into 11, and then finally 12 pops into view, and you've got to bring the car back in, hold it over to the right as you're about to go under the hotel, and you can then bring the car back into the left, final left of the lap. Last couple of corners coming up. This is where we see high commitment. The rear of the car wants to step out on you. You can see the driver fighting it there, and then into this last corner, easy to lock up. Track limits as well on exit. Looks clean there from Dorian Pan as she crosses the line. Stays 4th, but makes that gap nearly a tenth smaller.
Yeah, it's now just under 3 tenths, isn't it, between the top 4. And Hamda Al-Khabaisi challenging the likes of Abby Pulling and Chloe Chambers here, coming up to the final corner. This would mean a lot to be leading this practice session on home soil. Rear end getting a little bit loose coming around the final corner as she heads across the start-finish line. And Hamda Al-Khabaisi for now stays in 3rd place, but it is a personal best lap, 156.373.
As we look at Logan Hammer still looking on the rear of that car. I don't know if that's maybe the gearbox sensor, the sensor which effectively tells the car which gear it's in. There's a bit of wiggling going on from the mechanic on the rear, and the mechanic's looking at the dash. You can see them tightening something up, or even just trying to bash it into place, but this is the opposite of what Logan Hanna wanted. Chloe Chambers currently our fastest into turn 5 again. No lockup, which has been rare for our replays there, but look at the slide all the way up to the exit curb. I love watching these cars. We saw it, didn't we, with Hamda at the last corner, as we see another slide there and snap of oversteer for Jess Edgar, currently 7th fastest. I think Edgar will be happy with that. That's a bit higher than she has been recently, and another lockup for Hamda Al-Khabaisi there into turn 12. Easily done, but you're starting to get a bit of a theme, I think, that we're going to see in the race here. Mistakes which are easily done, and then it's trying to mitigate how much those mistakes hurt you.
It's a tough circuit, isn't it? It's got a little bit of everything to it. High-speed corners, heavy braking zones. It's a real test of driver and car as Chloe Chambers makes her way through the final sector. She will certainly be very, very happy with how this session has gone. Amna Al-Khabaisi, I think, will be quite happy with an 8th place, but she could make that a little bit better as we jump on board with her now.
Yeah, still pushing hard, green sector 2, and we come into this final part of the lap. You can see how much her head is looking into the corner. She wants to be able to see the apex as early as possible. It will shift to the left now, 2 lefts in quick succession, gets a lot of apex curve there. You can see her head starting to lean out, the G-force pulling 2G in these cars through the corners quite easily into the final couple of corners. Can she get herself higher than 8th place? We've seen a few track limits, a small lockup, but wouldn't have affected her too much as she pushes to the line. Can she improve on 8th place? She can't, but that's been a good session as Bustamante crosses the line and finishes her session in 5th place.
We did have an improvement from Dorian Pan, who jumped up to 3rd place ahead of Hamda Al-Khabaisi, and there's now just under 2/10 between the top 4. Very, very close. Let's have a look at Abby pulling into the final corner.
We saw the same from Shrine. You can see it nearly mirror her train marks left from the lockup there. The drivers just pushing at the end of the session. If you're going to make a mistake, it's the session to do it in this free practice.
Yeah, all or nothing into the final corner. A bit of experimental braking perhaps to see where the limits were. But Chloe Chambers fastest in the session there. I think she'll be very, very happy with that one. Chloe Chambers hasn't taken a pole position so far this season. She has been on the front row. She did that at Barcelona in both races. Could this be her time? What about Abby pulling? We've seen her qualifying only at the front. She was off the front row for the first time at Qatar. No surprise to see her up there in 2nd place, and Dorian Pan, who was on pole position for both races at Qatar, 3rd place for her, a winner here in F4 UAE. Very good performance for Dorian Pan. And then we have Hamda Al-Khabaisi on home soil in 4th place. Very, very good session, and just under 2/10 between the top 4. It's very, very close, and that sets us up nicely, Joe, for what should be a very close qualifying session later on.
Yeah, I just want to quickly watch Dorian Pan's practice start, if possible. This will be really the last chance they have to do this next session qualifying. They won't want to be doing any of this. They'll be solely focused on their performance. You can see she's just waiting for the Tommy Hilfiger car, Nuria Marti, to get her position. All the drivers lining up. You hear them just bounce off the rev limiter and get rid of the clutch. Dump the clutch too early and it bogs down. Get rid of it too slowly and you lose performance. You can see both first cars pulling away, leaving a big set of 11s. Hamda Al-Khabaisi start looking pretty tidy there as well. And Chloe Chambers just rolling over the front of her mark. Obviously no issue here, but as a driver I'd always like to practice the whole procedure as well as I could. So Chambers, maybe she's just actually looking like she wants to go to pole position. Is that a sign of intent?
Yes.
Finishes the session on pole, maybe a bit of superstition. I don't want to do my practice start from P5, I want to do it from pole because that's where I'm going to be. So yeah, great fairy tale story there. Top 3 are 3 winners, plus local driver Hamda Al-Khabaisi in 4th.
Yeah, it's a great session to kick things off before we go into qualifying later. Let's confirm your result first. Chloe Chambers looking to add 2 victories. She leads the way ahead of Abby Pulling. Champion-elect Dorian Pan in third place, and then Hamda Al-Khabaisi on home soil in fourth, Bianca Bustamante fifth, Nerea Marti sixth, Jessica Edgar very solid seventh place, Amna Al-Khabaisi in eighth place, Tina Hausman ninth, Aurelia Nobels was next after that. Then Emily de House, Carrie Schreiner, Leah Block, Maya Berg, Lola Lovenfoss, Logan Hanna had issues, ended in pit lane. Tina Hausman also having issues, so did well to finish in ninth place.
Well, thanks very much to the guys up there in the commentary box as well. That's it for the first session, and next up will be qualifying for F1 Academy. Next up here on JB Motorsports, it's all the action from F2, myself and Omi in the comms box. Sorry for the tech issues, still hope you enjoyed. See you later, bye-bye.